Hey, it's Chef Steve here at 360 in the Kitchen. Welcome back. I just returned from Napa Valley where I attended a Healthy Kitchens, Healthy Lives conference all about plant-forward eating and cooking. So today, the recipe is an inspiration from that conference. We're going to do a blended burger today. The idea of plant-forward cooking is you look at your protein as a side dish more than your main dish, and you put more fruits and vegetables and whole grains on your plate. Pretty simple, right? So today we're going to do a blended burger, which is going to be blended turkey. You can use beef, chicken, whatever you want. I'm going to blend it with 3 varieties of mushrooms and onions. We're going to make turkey burgers today. Ready? Let's get started. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to saute some Bermuda onions and some mushrooms. We're going to add a little bit of avocado oil, because avocado oil is a very high density oil and it will not burn. So it's really good for sauteing and it's healthy for you. Let that heat up. And while that's heating up, I'm using a combination of shiitake mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, and button mushrooms. They all have different flavor textures and profiles, so I think the blend together will be delicious. The idea about plant-forward cooking doesn't mean you're becoming a vegetarian or becoming a vegan. It just means you're going to think about putting more fruits and vegetables and whole grains into your diet. That's going to improve your health, give you more energy, you're going to sleep better, and you're just going to feel better overall. So now that the oil's heated up, we're going to add the onions, pre-chopped. We're going to saute them until they're soft, about 3 to 4 minutes. Then we're going to add a little bit of garlic, saute that a little bit, then we're going to add the mushrooms. Now mushrooms are full of a lot of moisture, so we have to get that moisture out of the mushrooms so they'll make the burger soggy. The thing about making blended burgers is you can be as creative as you want. You could saute carrots with this, you can saute zucchini, you can put whatever vegetable you want in here and blend it with your meat protein. Now we're going to add some garlic. We want to mince our garlic, and we want to add 1/4 tablespoon. Okay, our onions are sauteed, our garlic is sauteed, so now we're going to add the mushrooms. Here are the mushrooms here. Stir those in and blend them with the onions and the garlic. We add a little salt. I'm using Himalayan sea salt that has a lot of flavor. We're going to add a little bit of pepper. And we're just going to let them soften and have the moisture evaporate. Mushrooms are like a sponge. You have to remember, whatever you saute them in, they're going to pick up that flavor. So be careful not to use too much oil because then they'll become soggy. So first thing we're going to do is to add the onion, the garlic, and the mushrooms with our ground turkey. There's no rush to any of this. You can take as much time as you need. And then I'm going to put in a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of red chili, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of Himalayan sea salt, 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and for the next one, we're going to actually use 1/2 teaspoon of chipotle powder. This is the secret ingredient right here. Now you get to get your hands dirty. Ready? This is the fun part of cooking. And you can adjust your spices that you put in here on your flavor profile and what you enjoy. I just don't want to make these too strong or too spicy for everybody. And as always, remember when you're working with raw poultry, you want to be sanitary and not cross-contaminate. So after I'm through mixing this up, I'm going to go wash my hands. Okay, so now you're going to want to form your burgers into patties, okay? You just take some of the meat. They don't have to be perfect either. That's important to remember. In fact, when they're not so perfect, it's even better. So what I'm going to do now that I've made the patties, I'm going to put them in the refrigerator, let them firm up a little bit before we fry them up. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to make the roasted vegetable fries. Okay? So as an accompaniment to our blended burgers, we're going to make roasted vegetable fries. You may ask what roasted vegetable fries are. All they are mini vegetables cut up, and we're going to toss them with avocado oil, salt, pepper, and garlic. Put them on a sheet pan, roast them in the oven at 425 degrees for 15 minutes. Turn them an additional 15 minutes, and there you have it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to spray our cookie sheet with some avocado oil so it doesn't stick. That's very important. I have these cute little baby carrots. I'm going to put some of those in. We use some cut up sweet potatoes. See, they look like French fries, right? Some red peppers. Some yellow peppers. And some green peppers. And then little baby asparagus. Now this is something you can do any time of day with any meal as a side dish. Take some avocado oil. Put that on there. A little pepper. A little Himalayan sea salt. A little bit of vegetable seasoning. And then, of course, my favorite ingredient, garlic. Then you just toss away. Okay. The nice thing about this, you just put them in the oven and let them bake at 425 degrees for 15 minutes. Okay, just heard my timer. It's time to go turn the vegetables over, all right? Follow me. Smells wonderful. All right, another 15 minutes. All right, now it's time for the burgers. You ready? An important thing to remember is not to overcrowd your pan when you're cooking the burgers. Since I've got 4 burgers, I'm going to cook 2 in one fry pan and 2 in another fry pan. What we're going to do is we're going to sear them for 3 minutes on each side. Then I'm going to take them out of the pan, put them on a cookie sheet, and I'm going to finish them off in the oven. The reason you do that, it keeps them from drying out and overcooking. We start with a little avocado oil so they don't stick. You're going to heat your oil up to about a medium high. Not too high, but not medium. You want to get that nice crust on your burger when you put it in there. That crunch on the outside edge. Okay, our oil's hot, so now I'll put the burgers in. That's the sound you want to hear. This is creating that crust on both sides of the burger that you want before you put it in the oven to finish them off. It's very important with poultry that you cook it all the way through. There's no medium rare or medium well. It is well. Okay, it's been 3 minutes. I'm going to flip them over. You can see that nice crust on the burger here. We cook on this side for 3 minutes. It's that nice brown crust that you see is what you want to get. Okay, it's been 3 minutes on this side. And transfer them into the sheet pan here. Okay, now what we're going to do is, while the burgers are finishing off in the oven, I'm going to take the roasted veggies out. Okay, and in go our burgers. We're going to do 350 for about 15 minutes. While our blended burgers are baking, we want to make sure that they're not going to dry out. So I'm going to show you a little trick to test. Follow me. We also want to make sure they're done. I'm going to take my knife. I'm going to just slice on the edge here and kind of look inside. They're nice and juicy. They still need a little more time though. Because it's poultry, we want to make sure they're well done. And our burgers are already almost done. It's now time to plate. I've got some great mango salsa, some great guacamole, fresh lettuce, fresh tomato, and these wonderful brioche buns. I'm just going to lightly toast these buns. You can do that very simply. Just put them in the pan that you cook the burgers in. Ever so slightly, just to warm them up, get them a little crisp on the edges. Okay, now time to get our burgers out. Okay, once you take your burgers out of the oven, you want to give them a chance to rest. That means the juice will soak back up into the meat so that it's not dry. Our buns are almost done here. Okay, our buns are done. So now it's time to plate. Take a little bit of our guacamole, put it on the bottom base of the bun, spread it around. You do this also so that the burger will stay on the bun. It kind of helps it adhere to the bun, which is nice. When you take a bite, the guacamole doesn't spread out, spill all over the front of you too. Take one of our turkey burgers, put it down. Takes a nice crisp piece of lettuce, put it right on top. Nice piece of tomato right on top of that. A little bit of our mango salsa right on top of that tomato. Take our roasted veggies. And as you know, as I always say, presentations, three quarters of eating. So you want to make sure everything's put on really nicely onto the plate. And there we have it. Our blended mushroom burger with roasted vegetable fries. You can check out this recipe along with my article about eating more plant-forward and cooking more plant-forward in the next edition of Livability Magazine. So until our next culinary adventure, remember, eat to thrive.